Hello, I'm Irma Baker. Welcome to our show. We're sponsored by RSVP, the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, and that's part of Mature Services, offering so many opportunities for older adults here in our viewing area. Well, after a message from RSVP and Mature Services, we're going to bring back one of our very favorite guests, so stay with us.
RSVP of Summit County has been making a difference in our community since 1972. RSVP volunteers are increasing the quality of life by participating in programs and organizations that provide important services to the community. RSVP matches personal interests and skills with opportunities to serve. If you're interested in adding more meaning to your life and improving the lives of others, please call 330-253-4597 extension 166.
Welcome back. Today we have with us Park Ranger Mark Ludwig from the Medina County Parks District, and he just brings us so much great information about what's going on here in our local parks. So Mark, I'm so glad you're back with us.
Thank you for inviting me back.
Well, I know that today you have a special program planned for us on waterfowl?
Correct. Yep. Every time that I'm here, I try to have us talk about something a little bit different. And this time of year, actually in March, is one of the best times of year to view waterfowl that is essentially coming through the area. They actually use this area as kind of like a rest stop. You'll see them at a lot of lakes and wetland areas, and most of them are on their way to Canada to nest. So you get this narrow window of opportunity to see these amazing birds.
So then they start coming through in March and then into April, and then we go into spring flowers and all other kinds of things here in our park district.
And then some of the warblers that come through and some of the other birds. So spring is a very exciting time of year.
And we're lucky in the park district to have so many waterways.
Yep. Yeah, we have. I mean, that's one of our things that we do at the park is we make sure we restore a lot of wetlands, restore a lot of streams and rivers, because it's so important for so many different kinds of animals, from water birds to mink. We have a lot of mink in our park, and so it's essential that we restore them.
I had no idea we had mink running around our parks.
Yep. Yeah, the Chippewa Inlet around Chippewa Lake is a great place to see them. It's usually like every time I'm out there, I usually see one or two. So.
Well, you must be attuned to actually spotting, whether it's waterfowl or the more of the flying birds or the animals that burrow and all. How do people develop that kind of a skill?
Just getting out there. I went to Kent State University, and my major was, we were talking before, conservation, which has a lot to do with the environment and biology, geology. It was a great major, but most of my experience just getting out there, just learning the birds and learning nature around you. So it's yes, you can see it off the internet, and you can read a lot of information about it. But getting out there is what it's all about. So getting outside and seeing all of this is how you learn and experience it.
Is that something that anybody can learn, or do you have some special talent?
Anybody. It just requires patience, I think, especially birding, because some days you go out there and you see absolutely nothing, and other days you see a lot. So it requires patience and just having that interest in there. And it's also fun looking up in your ID book of what bird it might be, or what kind of frog it might be, or butterfly, or so it's fun. It's great to get outside. Our whole mission at the Park District is try to encourage people to get outside, and because that's what life is all about.
Well, I remember when you were here last year talking about the butterflies, and I was totally blown away by the fact that there were so many different varieties of butterflies.
Yep.
Now, You're saying we have that same kind of thing with the waterfowl?
Absolutely, yeah. I have about 30 pictures to show you, everybody. So, and that's just the waterfowl. If you talk about some of the other songbirds and
Well, we're looking at a map
yep.
right now. What's that map showing us?
So a lot of these, this is different ranges of the birds, and this one in particular is called the American widgeon, which we'll see in a few slides later. But my point is actually that a lot of these birds, like I said before, they're basically flying through the area right now, and just using this area as a rest area. You know, feeding, just kind of relaxing, I guess. So, but most of these birds are going to head to Canada to nest. Some of them, like the American widgeon, in the orange is actually kind of the winter range, and then they'll fly northwest way up into Canada to nest. So, so Ohio is just a wonderful area for all these migrating birds. And like I said, you see this it's a short amount of time that you see these birds, but they are just magnificent. The colors on them, just absolutely beautiful. So, and I have some slides to show you of some of these birds.
Oh, we have some up right now.
This one everybody's probably familiar with, which is the mallard, and they are residents around this area, meaning that they're going to stay here all year round. You know, if like last year when a lot of the ponds froze, this year we didn't really have that problem. The mallards will go to streams and rivers, places that have open water.
Now, they look very different, the two pictures
Yep,
that we're seeing.
male and female. So the male, generally in the bird world, is more brightly colored. The female is more drab color, just to blend in the camouflage, of course, because when they're sitting on the nest. The wood duck is generally not here in the winter. They are down south, but they are a bird that will nest around this area. So, and they're probably one of the prettiest, most beautiful birds out there, so especially the male. Yeah.
So that's a bird that we could possibly see
Yes.
anytime we come to the park
Yep.
system, except in the dead of winter.
Yep. Yeah. Generally, they're not here in the winter. I mean, there's occasions where sometimes if there's open water available, they may stay. But they are cavity nesters, and they can even nest far away from water. Yes, they'll use the water, but they'll nest high up in the trees, sometimes 50 foot up in a cavity in a tree. And it's pretty cool because when the young are born and they're ready to fledge the nest, they'll hop 50 foot down to the ground and without injury. So they just kind of bounce when they hit the ground, and it's pretty funny. So some of the ducks that you'll see today are actually a lot of them are cavity nesters. This is the American black duck, which is a lot of times mistaken for the mallard duck. The male actually looks very similar to a female mallard. There's a couple of differences. They're a little bit darker in color. They have a little bit lighter head. But the other problem too is that they hybridize with the mallard, so to make it even more confusing. But I haven't seen any this year, American black ducks, but they generally will nest north as well, but they can be mistaken for the mallard. And this is just another picture showing you. Okay, and then the gadwall is another duck that will come through this area. A little bit easier to identify. They have, I can't really see it as much in that picture, but the male has the black bill and the black rump, but just a different type of duck called a gadwall. American widgeon, I already talked about.
Oh, that's the one you showed us, the
that was
migratory map.
Yep, so they'll migrate through and they'll head to Canada to nest.
Now they do look a lot like the mallard.
Yes, yeah, a lot of the ducks do. Also with the widgeon, they have that white, almost like a mohawk.
Oh, now I can see it.
They call them, another name for it is a bald pate, a bald head, because that really stands out when you're looking at them, that white forehead on the males. The females a lot of times with waterfowl are very hard to identify, but a lot of times they hang out with the males, so the males are a little bit easier to identify, so you can say, oh, that's the female shoveler. But yeah, this is a northern shoveler. Have seen a lot of these recently. They have a huge shovel-like bill. So northern pintail, probably one of my favorite ducks. My daughter and I were down at Killbuck Marsh, which is south of here, and we saw over 1,000 of these. They're absolutely beautiful duck, chocolate brown head, kind of like a white stripe behind the head, and they have this long tail, this pin-like tail. They're also called like spike tail is another name for it, but they're absolutely a beautiful bird.
Well, now do the bird, these waterfowl, I guess I don't think of them that way. Do they fly in great big flocks?
A lot of them in the winter especially will hang out in big groups. So sometimes you'll see like isolated populations, small populations of these ducks, but a lot of times when they're flying through, they will kind of hang out together in groups. So it's basically back to the principle of safety in numbers, and then also it's easier, to find food. So a lot of birds in the wintertime will flock together. Of course, in the spring and summer when they're nesting, they want nothing to do with each other. They'll spread out and defend their territories. So it's a pretty neat thing, though.
Oh, now a blue-winged teal. Oh,
yep, blue-winged teal
definitely has a blue wing.
Yep. So these are ducks that are coming through this time of year. They're a little bit later than some of the other ducks that we have flying through. They have the males have a white crescent shape pattern right behind their bill, so that's an easy way to identify them. The green-winged teal has the green on the forehead, brownish head, but occasionally these ducks can nest in Ohio around this area. So before we talked about some of the ducks what they call dabbling ducks or pond ducks, ducks that generally stay in shallow water. Now we're going to talk about some of the ducks that are called the diving ducks that will dive under the water to catch fish and all kinds of different animals. So this is called a bufflehead, and the male has a whitish white behind the head, and they actually whoever named this put two names together. They called it a buffalo head, I guess, because the size of the head was a lot bigger compared to the body like a buffalo is. So canvasback, these ducks have already gone through this time of year in late March, early April. So, but they're pretty neat. And then also a redhead duck, absolutely beautiful redhead, blue bill. Look like the canvasback, but generally they're a little bit smaller than the canvasback.
And the ones we're looking at now are all diving ducks? They
Yeah,
actually
these are
go
diving
underwater?
ducks. Yeah, and generally you're going to find these in a little bit deeper water, but not all the time. Redheads we've actually seen in shallow water this year. So, but a lot of them have moved through right now. The cool thing about some of the ducks is like the redhead, they actually will lay eggs in other birds' nests of the same species. So sometimes there can be 20, 30 eggs that one mother or one parents are taking care of. So they will actually lay eggs in other birds' nests while the other mothers will take care of them, which is kind of interesting. Wood ducks will do that too. So sometimes if you see a huge population or lots of little young ducklings, it may be from other parents as well. So it's kind of interesting.
That I find amazing because I thought they laid maybe 2 or 3 eggs, but you're talking there can be a nest that has as many as 10 or 20
from other ducks. Yeah, so they can really add up. It's pretty amazing. But the parents, they take care of them. So
they don't care whose egg is
right.
there. If it hatches, it's theirs.
Birds are very good parents, so they take care of their young very well. Common goldeneye, probably one of my favorite ducks, just absolutely beautiful green head. They have a little white spot in front of their golden yellow-like eyes, so the males, that is. Greater lesser scaup, they call these, and they also call them an Oreo cookie duck because they have kind of a black, greenish, purple head, and then they have kind of a white area in the center, and then a kind of a black, darker rump or tail. So
they look kind of like an Oreo cookie.
Oreo cookie, yep. Easy way to remember. Another favorite duck of mine, the ring-necked duck. So absolutely gorgeous purple head the males have. And they have a ring around their bill, but then they also have a chestnut-colored ring around their neck. And this is definitely a duck in my opinion, is misnamed. It should be like a ring billed duck, they should call it, because you can't really see the ring around their neck, but absolutely gorgeous. Reddy duck is another smaller duck, bluebill. From some of the readings I've done, they're aggressive duck. They can chase away much bigger animals. They have actually even been known to rabbits that are on the shore. They'll swim after the rabbits and chase them away. So they'll, pretty amazing little duck. So now we're talking about the mergansers. So these are a lot of fish-eating ducks, and so they dive very, very well under the water.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you mean all ducks don't eat fish?
Not all ducks. Some of the shallow pond ducks will eat a lot of vegetation, a lot of snails, a lot of invertebrates, insects that they find. So not all of them will eat it. But a lot of these diving ducks will eat fish. So.
Well, is merganser then like a category of duck?
Yeah, it's a type of duck. Yeah. And then the other one was a red-breasted merganser, common merganser, this one, and then the hooded merganser. One of the cool things about watching these ducks is the courtship displays. This one in particular, the male actually bends his head back to touch his head on his back, and moves his head forward. It makes like a croaking sound, almost like a frog sound, and it's a really cool display or courtship that they do to attract the female. So American coot, and we saw hundreds of these the other day, my daughter and I, and they look like a chicken almost, and they're one of the ducks that do not really have webbed feet. So and these are grebes, they call them. Pie-billed grebe is one of them that we have, and then the next one is the horned grebe. So the cool thing about this is when the young are born, they actually ride on the parent's back, and even will go underwater with them. These ducks are hard to see a lot of times because they're always diving. So once you get your scope on these ducks, they're usually under the water. And then of course the loon is pretty amazing as well. And haven't seen these come through yet, so they should be coming through this week, late March, early April. But once again, the young right on the back as well. And
let's go back to the loon.
Yep.
On the loon, are those the ones that have the strange cry?
The strange laugh, yeah, the call that they. Unfortunately, I can't really reproduce it very well. I tried, and my coworkers laughed at me one time, but they're mostly a lot of times under the water. They dive a lot. And so when they go under the water, there's several things that they do. One, they're one of the few birds that has a solid bone. So a lot of birds have a hollow bone, so they can fly easier, makes them lighter. But they actually have solid bones that makes them sink faster. So they're excellent swimmers. They expel oxygen or exhale with their lungs to kind of deflate their lungs a little bit. They can also push their feathers to remove air underneath their feathers to make them a little bit more water, so they can dive under the water a little bit better.
Now, let me ask you on that one. Was that a duckling we saw on
Yep,
the back
that was
of
a little baby loon that was attached to the back.
Here's the one we all know, the
And then,
Canada goose.
of course, yes, the Canada goose, which is, of course, resident, the giant Canada goose. So they're absolutely everywhere. But what's kind of interesting about them is that in the early 1900s they were almost extinct, the giant Canada goose, which a lot of people didn't even realize. But thanks to restoring the populations throughout Ohio, obviously the population today is huge.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are people out there who are wishing that the population had
yes,
not been repopulated.
Yep. And there's 11, back to the goose again, there's 11 subspecies. So there's actually, as you go north into Canada, the geese get a little bit smaller. As you go out west, they get a little bit darker in color. So we do have the resident population, the giant Canada geese, but then we also apparently have some of the migrating geese from Canada. But obviously, it's hard to tell the differences. But yeah, almost extinct. It's hard to believe, and but nowadays they're absolutely everywhere.
The swan.
Yep, the swans. Yep, 3 different types of swans that we have in this area, and I don't remember if I have all the pictures of them. But the tundra swans, they'll of course go up to the tundra to nest, and they're on their way through Ohio. I think a lot of them probably have moved through already, but they're a little bit smaller swan. And they also have a straight neck, and then the trumpeter swan has the curved neck. When they nest, they're a little bit bigger, and they actually have been there's about 66 pair, I believe, that are in Ohio. So they have repopulated certain sections of Ohio, mostly I think western Ohio towards Lake Erie, but they can be seen around this area. And then the mute swan, which is from Europe, which is non-native swan. Absolutely beautiful swan. The only thing is they are pretty aggressive, so they will chase away Canada geese as well as a lot of the other waterfowl. But and also the swan has an orange bill, so that's one of the ways to tell the differences. So.
And we are wrapping up
Yep.
the 50th anniversary of the Park District.
Yeah, we had lots of different events last year for the 50th anniversary, and very successful. Everything went very well. We have a couple of the events coming up. Our big event, April 23rd, is the Earth Day celebration.
What happens on Earth Day?
Well, my part I can talk about is our family fishing derby, and this is our 3rd year we've having it. So anybody can come out and fish. We have the ponds, several ponds that you can fish that are stocked with trout and catfish and bluegill, and we give away prizes and all kinds of different things. But then there's other organizations that are out there. We have many other activities that day, so something for everybody. So be sure to check out our website, medinacountyparks.com, for more information.
And there are all kinds
Yep.
of books and brochures and that.
Yeah.
So this one is about the waterfowl.
Yep, you can stop by Wolf Creek
There are
Environmental
all
Center,
kinds
and
of-
we have
yes.
we have copies of this that we can give you. Talking about our water birds. So these are many more birds that I did not talk about that are in here, but great pictures, great information. So you can stop by and pick some of those up. The other thing I forgot to talk about really quickly too is that when you're out looking at ducks, you definitely need what is called the spotting scope. And we do, if you don't have one, we have actually a lot of programs that have, we'll bring the scopes out and you can come out and look through our scopes if you don't have them. But these,
I was going to say, not everybody has a scope
not everybody
like
has
that
them,
at home.
and they some can be quite expensive. But they're very helpful with waterfowl, because a lot of times where you're at, if you're at a pond, the waterfowl are way far away. So the best way to view them is the spotting scope. And then if you don't have one of those, binoculars are great too. If you're planning to buy a pair, I definitely suggest buying a really good pair, a couple $100, but just because they hold up better. The clarity of the prism is a lot better, looking through them. So
I would imagine too you'd want something that is very weather resistant.
that's the other thing too. A lot of the more inexpensive binoculars that you get, if they get wet, they're ruined very easily. Or like I said, if you drop them on the ground.
Well, what's the best time of day to go out looking for waterfowl or any of the birds that are in our area?
Sure. Yeah, it's really this time of year. Any time of day is a good, in the morning to afternoon. And when you get into spring, usually morning is a little bit better. Birds are a little bit more active and singing. So.
And what about in the Park District? Where are the best spots to look for the birds?
Yeah, go to our website once again, medinacountyparks.com, and they list all the different parks. But River Styx Park is a great park for a lot of the warblers that are going to be coming through here shortly. Chippewa Lake, Chippewa Inlet are great for waterfowl, so it's a great place. And just getting out there. Wolf Creek Environmental Center, I guess, is another great place for all kinds of different birds.
Well, Wolf Creek is a wonderful place to start for any of the exploration of the Park District, because you have so much there at the building.
Absolutely. Yeah,
well,
we do.
Mark, thank you so much
Oh, my
for
pleasure.
coming back and visiting with us. You always teach us so many interesting and different things. I'm always amazed with the information that you share with us. So thank
Oh,
you so
no
much
problem.
for coming.
No problem.
And
Thank
we
you.
do thank all of you for visiting with us today. I hope you've enjoyed the show. It's always a pleasure to have Mark on. And we hope, too, that you will take advantage of the opportunities that the Medina Parks offer to all of us here in the viewing area. So please do take advantage of that. And thank you so much for being with us. Please remember our sponsor, Mature Services, and RSVP, the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, and come and visit with us again. For RSVP TV, I'm Irma Baker. Have a wonderful day.
Since 1971, RSVP has been matching volunteers' talents to community needs. RSVP is affiliated with the Corporation for National and Community Service, a national organization that supports service and volunteering through grant-funded projects. Volunteers organize neighborhood watch programs, tutor children, renovate homes, plant community gardens, assist victims of natural disasters, and serve their communities in many other ways. RSVP offers maximum flexibility and choice to its volunteers as it matches the personal interests and skills of Americans 55 and older with opportunities to serve their communities. If you're interested in adding more meaning to your life and improving the lives of others, please call 330-253-4597 extension 166.